I've got a piece published over at Alternet this morning. It's titled "The Sad Truth of Our Politics." It's basically turned into a competition among oligarchs to own everything, with a subhead, "It Could Still Happen Here," a reference to Sinclair Lewis's 1935 book. And in this article, I'm quoting Henry Wallace, Vice President Henry Wallace, in April 9th, 1944. He published an op-ed in the New York Times in answer to a question. He was vice president under Franklin Roosevelt. FDR's first vice president was John Nace Garner, then Henry Wallace, then Harry Truman, and then, of course, FDR died in office and Harry Truman became president. And then was reelected. But in early 1944, in April of 1944, Henry Wallace was asked to write a piece for the New York Times answering three questions. What is a fascist? How many fascists do we have in the United States? And how dangerous are they? Now, keep in mind, this is while we were fighting Germany, Italy, and Spain in Europe. We were fighting three countries that claimed to be fascist. The Nazis arguably were fascist with a death cult. Franco and Mussolini, straightforward fascists. And here's what Henry Wallace said. He said, the really dangerous American fascists are not those who are hooked up directly or indirectly with the Axis, with Germany and Japan. The FBI has its finger on those. The dangerous fascist is the man who wants to do in the United States in an American way what Hitler did in Germany in a Prussian way. The American fascist would prefer not to use violence. His method is to poison the channels of public information. With a fascist, the problem is never how best to present the truth to the public, but how best to use the news to deceive the public into giving the fascist and his group more money and more power. By the way, did you notice this weekend? I was home all weekend. Louise picked up a god-awful cold here at the office last week, and so we just sat around the boat all weekend, and basically, the TV was on in the background, and all I could see on CNN and MSNBC, but particularly MSNBC all weekend, was Republicans. It was like, and this morning, the MSNBC was carrying Jeb Bush's speech live. I didn't see Hillary Clinton. I didn't see Bernie Sanders. I didn't see Martin O'Malley. I didn't see them in any of the, I didn't see them on Meet the Press. I didn't see that. It was just Republicans. Back to Henry Wallace. In 1944, April 9, 1944, writing in the New York Times, "With the fascist, the problem is never how best to present the truth to the public, but how to best use the news to deceive the public into giving the fascist and his group more money and more power. If we define an American fascist as one who, in case of conflict, puts money and power ahead of human beings, then there are undoubtedly several million fascists in the United States," Henry Wallace writes for the New York Times. Vice President Henry Wallace. "There are probably several 100,000 if we narrow the definition to include only those who in their search for money and power are ruthless and deceitful. They are patriotic in time of war because it is in their interest to be so, but in time of peace they follow power and the dollar wherever they may lead." Henry Wallace continued, Vice President of the United States. And can you imagine a Vice President of the United States today talking about like this? Listen, this is the Vice President of the United States. In this era, this would only happen in a Bernie Sanders administration, in my opinion. Vice President Henry Wallace said, and I quote, "American fascism will not be really dangerous until there is a purposeful coalition among the cartelists or however you say that, the owners of the cartels. In other words, the giant industries. American fascism will not be really dangerous until there is a purposeful coalition among the cartelists, the deliberate poisoners of public information. Fascism is a worldwide disease, but the greatest threat to the United States will come after the war and will manifest within the United States itself." He writes, "Still another danger is represented." This is the Vice President of the United States. This is my piece that's on alternet.org right now. The sad truth of our politics. "Still another danger is represented by those who pay lip service to democracy and the common welfare. In their insatiable greed for money and the power which money gives, do not hesitate surreptitiously to evade the laws designed to safeguard the public from monopolistic extortion." Now, keep in mind, in 82, Reagan didn't do this with an executive order or anything. I mean, the Justice Department decides which antitrust cases to prosecute, and they do that with the advice of the president. The Justice Department works for the president, and Reagan basically just stopped prosecuting Sherman antitrust cases. The AT&T case, oddly enough, was resolved during the Reagan presidency. I think it was 83. But that was it. Anyhow, Henry Wallace, Vice President of the United States, American fascists of this stamp were clandestinely aligned with their German counterparts before the war, and even now they're preparing to resume where they left off after the present unpleasantness ceases. Monopolists who fear competition and who distrust democracy because it stands for equal opportunity would like to secure their position against small and energetic companies. In an effort to eliminate the possibility of any rival growing up, some monopolists would sacrifice democracy itself. He says the American fascists are most easily recognized by their deliberate perversion of truth and fact. Their newspapers and propaganda carefully cultivate every fissure of disunity, every crack in the common front. They use every opportunity to impugn democracy. Have you heard that? You know, hate the government. It's terrible. It should be made smaller. They claim to be super patriots, he said, but they would destroy every liberty guaranteed by the Constitution.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-536-2370.
I ran out of time in the last segment. Let me just finish. Let me reread this the end of Henry Wallace's piece. This is the end of his piece that was published on April 9th, 1944 in the New York Times. He said, they claim to be super patriots, but they would destroy every liberty guaranteed by the Constitution. They demand free enterprise, but they are the spokesman for monopoly and vested interest. Their final objective, toward which all of their deceit is directed, is to capture political power, so that, using the power of the state and the power of the market simultaneously, they may keep the common man in eternal subjection. It's over at alternet.org. Just as an FYI.